Hey everyone, welcome to Reading the Green and our Golf DFS show. My name is Mike with Kyle and Jordan. Kyle, could we just do the intro like you did it last episode? Because that was like way more real than this crap that I've been doing. What did you say?
So
Should we start over?
And golf and DFS.
Hey, we're Reading the Green. We are just a bunch of guys that like to drink beer and talk about golf and play DFS. Yeah, that's about it. Well, it's Tuesday, January 24th. Yeah, that's right on, and it's Torrey week, which means we're gonna have a lot of fun. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Very good over here.
Yeah.
This is the next to last pod until I get back on the good stuff to from juice perspective, a little power, but yeah, I'm doing good.
Is it five? Were there 5 Tuesdays in January? Did you get the short end of the deal there with the 31st being on a Tuesday?
No, 31st I'm drinking.
Yeah, he only lasts until his wife's birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's right. Okay, all right.
I'm not going to a dinner in a nice restaurant and not drinking.
All right, fair enough. Jordan, how you doing?
Good. Ready for another exciting pod where I prepared a bunch. I've got a bunch of lineups. No, I got nothing. I don't even know.
Well, why don't we start? Yeah. What's up, Kyle? What do you got?
I was going to say, just tell Jordan, in case you don't know, the event starts tomorrow.
Thanks for the reminder.
No problem.
On the agenda, public service announcement for the RTG one and done and all one and dones for that matter, and fantasy and any golf betting you're doing this week. The tournament starts on Wednesday. Jordan, why does the tournament start on Wednesday?
I just found this out thanks to the host here, so we get done before football starts on Sunday, which is valid because no one would watch the final round at Torrey over the AFC or NFC championship games.
I think it's a great move.
Diehards.
Yeah, I think it's a great move. They should really do it for TOC, Sony, Amex, and Torrey, and then they can go back to the normal schedule. In my opinion.
You don't think that maybe they should just do a 3-round events that start on Thursday all year and just not even deal with Sundays?
That is the worst idea I've ever heard.
All right, this is what I really want to talk about. That was just a joke. That was off script. This is what I really want to talk about. 2019. I call this the birth of RTG. We didn't know it yet. Maybe the conception of RTG happened in a little town called La Jolla, California, when the three of us were on our Torrey trip. I don't really call it a Torrey trip, I guess. It was a family trip in San Diego that included some time at Torrey, but some of our content, some of our imagery comes from some shots taken at Torrey Pines. And I don't know, what do you guys remember from this course? It's such a special spot.
The thing I remember most is Kyle just hitting a perfect bladed sand wedge over the green, hitting the stands, and making a really loud noise. Was that hole 17?
Great way to finish the round.
That was 18?
It was 18.
We might see that. We might see people be in worse positions. Yeah, that's right. So we were there over New Year's, and so the stands for the Farmers Insurance Open were up, which is super cool to play it that way. And if you're Kyle, you certainly avoided ending up on the clubhouse patio on 18 there with the railing blocking his ball.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It bounced back, gave me a nice little kick. It was very loud.
Very loud.
It was. I'm glad it became such a good story. Outside of that, number 3, obviously, staying on the tee box at 3, the par 3 was fun. I 4-putted the hole, which is not. Hey, you have the least made putt percentage inside 10 feet of anywhere in tour at Torrey Pines. So,
I thought you were just gonna say you have the least made percentage.
And then
no, it's very subtle. It's that POA.
Yeah, it's that POA. And 7, I put one in the valley. So I feel like I had the quintessential Torrey Pines experience. I 4-putted on 3, put one into the gorge, ravine, whatever you want to call it, and then hit some stands. So it was great.
You got it. The things that I love about Torrey, and I know, Jordan, you've been there twice, but like, it is a municipal golf course. I know everyone talks about that, but it's pretty unassuming coming up to it. I mean, the driving range is tiny and it has nets on it. like any good Muni. You got nets on the driving range. And like there really is there are no charades. There's no theatrics at the golf course. Like it feels like a public course. They announce the tee time that's on the first tee, so they call your name over the loudspeaker. The rough is like this blend of like, what is it? It's like some Kikuya, some Bermuda. Like it's a mix of a lot of stuff, and it feels like a Muni course, like from the ergonomics, but it's so hard. Like, and I know the rough here is gonna be crazy. We talked about it in the preview, but like the rough is going to be crazy. And you remember when we were playing, they had a local rule that said if you have to spend longer than 1 minute looking for your ball off the fairway, just take a free drop.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be nuts, and they've had a lot of rain, and so I don't know. I think about the rough there as being unlike. It's like if the Muni here just didn't mow. That's what it was like.
Well, I don't know, Mike, you joined after I was telling Kyle this, but I sent some photos over in the Slack. One of my neighbors is in San Diego, and they're like, "Oh, let's just go get a drink at Torrey Pines," not remembering that the golf tournament was there. Didn't even realize it until they got, because right as you come up, you can't really see a ton. They got into the
right.
They walked into the clubhouse, ordered a drink at the bar, and went outside, and then we're like, "Oh shit, here is." Like he sent photos over of Sahith and Xander and everyone.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's so like, crazy. They just walked right in.
Yeah, no, nothing needed.
Yeah, and the putting
really
green's
cool.
right there, so that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
The well, Jordan, I understand that your wife and one of your daughters are going to the Farmers Insurance Open this weekend.
They're gonna be like a quarter mile away in their Airbnb and probably not gonna go check it out.
Do they even know that the tournament is going on?
No, unless my wife can hear me right now, she has no idea. Because I had also not put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I look forward to her saying to you, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of traffic around here.
I need to warn her. It'll be a different experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
Pretty cool though. She'll find her way into something good. We should get her a login for the RTG Twitter so she can do a little bit of on the grounds reporting.
I think it would be better if you don't say anything to her. Let's just let it happen naturally and see what she says to you.
Then we can tweet out the text that I get.
Yeah. I like that idea much better.
Did you know there was a golf tournament here? Yes, I did.
Yeah, didn't you listen to the pod?
Yeah.
All right. Well, a couple other things before we jump into the golf stuff. Kyle, you want to talk? I know this is technically Amex related, but homemade swing versus a purchased prototypical swing. What's pros and cons?
Yeah. So Jordan, you're gonna need to set the mood for me here, because I missed it on the broadcast when this was said. Unfortunately, somebody's scheduled swimming lessons on Sunday afternoon that I have to go to for 5 more weeks. And it's the bane of my existence as a father. But anyway, set the scene.
So I was watching one of the featured holes, right? I don't know if anyone watched any of them, but the announcers didn't give 2 shits, right? They were betting who's going to get closest to the pin, whatever. So this was Sunday. Montgomery's up there and hits it, and they just start ragging on him, like, man, that, he's a good golfer, but that swing, it, you can tell that's a homemade swing. And just kept ragging on him. And then I don't know if Burns was in the same group or the next group, and they were just like, oh, look at Burns's swing. Oh, that is not like Taylor Montgomery's. That one is repeatable. It is a great swing. And it was just hilarious listening to these guys rag on Montgomery, who was kicking ass, right? But he wasn't.
Well, it's funny. I caught so you started slacking some of this, and I was like, well, what's going on? I got to see this. I was like, I don't know that I really tuned into Taylor Montgomery's swing. And then literally he steps up to the 17th hole, and it was just, he's got the little move on the downswing, and I was like, ugh, and he hoselled it into the water. And I let out an audible shocked gasp. And this is like the most inappropriate time in the kitchen as I was making dinner that I could have reacted that way. And but it was so shocking that what he did in contention with that golf swing, hitting the ball 40 yards right of the island green.
That statement though on a PGA broadcast when you're trying to grow the game, I think is just grinds my gears. It's just bush league. How many people can pay out there to go take years of lessons or grow up taking lessons and have the perfectly manicured swing? They should be celebrating that there's, quote, a homemade golf swing that can be able to make it to the PGA Tour. I think that's very important.
They celebrate that if you watch the live broadcasts. They welcome any and all swings, no matter how bad they are.
Why do we keep going there? Get out.
But what we're gonna say, like, for a long time we celebrated Bubba Watson having never taken a lesson or watched a swing on video, and like he was the ultimate homegrown swing guy. And I think you're right, Kyle. That's doing nothing to the broadcast to even call that out in any negative light.
I agree.
These guys sound like idiots. Okay, I'll give one more prompt out there. Our friends over at the Fantasy Golf Pod talking a lot this week on Twitter about cash versus GPP. And so, Kyle, I thought I'd ask for a 30-second, maybe strategic explanation on why you might play one or the other.
I love playing cash games as well. And we talked a lot about cash. I think our approach lends itself very well to playing cash games. And my view from cash is, and I've heard experts say it out there too, that why would you play cash in something so volatile as PGA and DFS? But I don't think it has to be volatile. We've been able to prove with our approach that it does, you can take home cash contests 70-75% of the time, which gives yourself a nice weekly floor to play those other GPP contests, take some shots at the bigger price stuff. But hey, at the end of the day, you cash a $25 double up or 2 or 3 of those, then you're paying for those GPP entries. And we're not professionals. It's a good way to do it, to kind of pay for the shots, if you will.
I have nothing to add. I think that's awesome. I think you and I embrace the same approach, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to take down a big GPP if that ever happens. But like, it's also fun to not lose money, in my book. So
exactly, and none of us are playing the 5-5-5. All right.
Yeah. All right. Drinks. I saw before we get into the Amex. This is what's going on in my house. So I've been gone a whole bunch. I was out of town for work for a while, and I came home and I was like, oh, I haven't been in my beer fridge for a while. And I opened it up and there were 6 crazy heavy stouts that I have yet to get to, a bunch of Coors lattes, 4 high noons, and 2 THC seltzers. So,
so you're doing the THC.
What do you think I went for?
Mike, this is a new side of you I didn't know about.
I went for the high noon for tonight.
Or are those for Kate? Does the wife like the THC seltzers?
I bought them for us to share. I had to be very clear with her because she'll go in and grab a beer, most nights of the week, and that's probably where they all went while I was gone. But I said very clear, the ones with the smiley faces are THC. It'll make you feel different than a regular IPA.
Isn't it funny? High noon doesn't have THC in it. High noon.
Yeah, they need to come out.
I agree.
Yeah. As we discussed earlier, still on my last week of dryness in January here. I think I've already had this on the pod, but I'm drunk on alcoholic Untitled Art Hazy double IPA. Oops, whatever. I wasn't gonna buy more. Just drinking what's left in the fridge.
Yes. And
Jordan, anything tonight?
I'm still sticking to my no drinking at home rule.
Good for you.
We've been out for some good dinners and some other things where I've had a drink, but nothing crazy.
Didn't you say you drank earlier today?
Oh, I didn't.
You left the house.
I didn't. She did.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought you guys left the house though, so
yeah, we did leave the house.
It wouldn't count.
But yeah.
All right. The American Express out at PGA West. I guess the result we all expected. So what? The best putter in the world right now ends up winning his self-declared putting contest, and I guess we're all surprised. Maybe we're surprised that it was a little closer than, and like Davis Thompson actually had a shot. But Rahm right now can't be stopped. I don't want to believe that he's going to win 3 weeks in a row, but it's hard looking at a guy that plays golf like that. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, he did leave the door open a little bit on Sunday. He had two par fives on the front that he just parred.
Yep.
And our new boy, I guess DT hung around, but no one on the back could really just close. Everyone, kind of fell off. Montgomery hit the shot into the water on 17. JTP was never really there, even though he was in that final group all day. I mean, Xander was so far back, closed pretty hard, but he was never really in it. The door was open. No one shot that 64 to walk through it.
Yeah. No, it definitely was open, and so he gets a W on a course that he faded pretty hard last year, but I don't know. PJ West, it's a weird. I mean, Jordan, you and I played there. There's no rough this time of year. There's never really any rough. It's a pure resort course. It's hard. Some of the green complexes are hard, but you really can just hit it anywhere. You can hit it 2 holes over and be totally fine. It's a very interesting track for these guys.
I was going to ask too, like they seem to be the winning score keeps getting better. It's almost like they're breaking the course now. I mean, they're pushing 30. We haven't done that in the past.
Yeah. No. Listener league results. We got Buke 0215 takes down the RTG listener league. I was happy to grab second place. I was the only person in the listener league this week with a 6 of 6 lineup, and so had I missed the money, I'd have been pretty frustrated. Then Jordan, what happened here? You missed third place by 0.5 to Ness 0163.
I thought I was gonna have it. I had a U and I had more holes left, but your guys closed much stronger than mine did.
Yeah, 0.5. That's a bummer. There was some good stuff with the model. Ram, Tom Kim, Hoagie are all of our kind of top upper quadrant plays, and they were all right. They weren't bad places to start your lineup. No, I mean obviously Ram gets the W. It's certainly quite chalky. Jordan, you called it. You can't trust a guy named Lipsky. And you couldn't trust him. Missed the cut. One of our own kind of like top echelon guy this week in our model that missed the cut. Can't trust a guy named Lipsky.
Cut at, I know it's 3 rounds, but still 10 under. It's just.
I know.
Crazy.
There was a really good tweet. There was a really good tweet with someone circling that, and it just said "Stay in school, kids." I mean, I don't think people like quite appreciate like to shoot 10. I know these guys are professionals, but like if you're an aspiring kid, like. You got to learn how to shoot 10 under on a tour setup for 3 rounds. Like that is a learned skill. And I think it's funny when a lot of kids, this is a slight tangent, but a lesson I learned growing up was you can play hard golf courses all you want. You can shoot 72, 73s, whatever on hard courses from the tips and be pumped up about that. But the kids that I grew up with that were really good were the kids that played Dewan Municipal Course in Bloomington, which is a par 68, and they'd shoot 63, 64 on it all day long. And all they were doing was learning how to make birdies. And so when they went and played a tougher course in a tournament, they just walked in with the mentality that like, well, 64 is a good score and it's not 72, 73. And so that's something that like, you joke around, but going and playing the forward tees at your golf club and just seeing how many birdies you can make, it kind of like is good for your mentality on how to score. Like that's what these guys essentially are doing on weeks like this is like they're playing the forward tees. So it's getting to -10 for 3 rounds. Like you said, Kyle, like that's not everybody has that mentality on how to do that.
Yeah. And that cut, I wasn't following super close. I don't know if any of you guys were on Saturday, but I thought I had a 6 of 6 GPP through with about an hour and a half left in the round. The cut was sitting at -9. I had somebody out with at -8 with 4 holes to go on the Nicholas tournament course, and they ended par. and then the cut moved to 10. So they missed it by 2, but I would have had a 606 through. I was sitting 4th in that at that point, so I almost had excited. I think I finished 13th. It was still fun, but not quite. As fun as
The
good.
move to -10 killed me in the one and done.
Mm.
KH Lee really put a dud out there for me.
Well, you had to use him. I mean, it's KH Lee. You had to use him.
There was a website that he was the pick of the tournament.
TPC Lee.
Sure.
Shouldn't listen to that.
TPC
schlub.
Lee, that's his nickname.
What a
It's
schlub.
only TPC Craig Ranch Lee. Yeah. So John Rahm obviously wins at -27. We tweeted out the gutsiest play award to Len Hochberg and RotoWire because we like to call out the guys that are the only expert on a player. So he's the only one on Davis Thompson, giving him props for that. And he replies back, yeah, but I had Rahm too. I'm just like, yeah, so did everybody else. But I will credit him for finding Davis Thompson there. Davis Thompson, I think his write-up was awful putting the last several events. And frankly, strokes gained wise, like Thompson didn't really, I think he gained maybe like less than a stroke to the field across the board, and putting was less than a stroke as well. So I found it interesting how you didn't have to gain a ton of strokes on this golf course in order to beat the field. However that worked out. I know strokes gained isn't perfect, but last thing I'll say on Amex, Jordan, do you have what's going on with one and done? So you missed. KH Lee screws you over. You missed the cut. We actually had someone take John Rahm, right?
Yes, someone wasted the best golfer in the world on a $1.4 million pot. Let's see here. I was looking at it and I just went away.
That is B. Blasberg is leading the way right now with 1.4 with the Rahm pick.
And he missed the cut the first tournament. Or he wasn't playing yet. So that's
he missed it. It was a miscut.
Okay, one big win and you can change a lot here. But yeah, there's he's over 750,000 ahead of second place, $1 million ahead of anyone else. And then if you go way, 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 way down to the bottom, you can find me in third to last place.
Kyle, thoughts on strategy?
Yeah, Adam had one last week, worked out. Got myself 110K, small field. I'm just trying to, a small purse events, just trying to bank a little bit of that money and save some of the big guys.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. I mean, you would think you'd want to save Rahm for a major or any of the elevated events. I mean, any of the elevated events are going to pay out 2 to 3x what he just won this week, and he'll have that win equity anytime he tees it up. So not criticizing B. Blasberg, but not what I
that being said, though, if you're going to fire him up at an event like this, he better win. And he got the win.
Yeah, he got the W.
That's all that matters.
Could have wasted him, and he did not.
Yep. All right. Torrey Pines Farmers Insurance Open. Such a fun week, obviously because we have the personal connection. This is just a great PGA Tour stop. We get 2 golf courses and we are in for a dilemma. Kyle, RTG resident weatherman, what's going on this week in La Jolla?
So tomorrow looks beautiful, and we should get a lot of sun and no rain or anything threatening most of the week. But we're going to have some wind come up on Thursday, and this has been hotly debated in our expert community that we're following, what that means or how you could potentially take advantage of it. And ultimately, I think the answer is you can't. But some people out there say, hey, you want the North Course, which is much easier to score on the windy day, so you don't get completely tore up by the harder course, the South Course, on the windy day. Where I tend to think opposite of that. Like, I would think you would want the scoring course on the nicer day so you can still score and just try to survive the windier day on the harder course. What do you guys think?
I came around to Team Kyle today. I think I want to lean North Course tomorrow, guys that start on the North Course, and then roll the dice on Thursday on the South Course. From frankly, in these situations, the best thing you could do is probably build a couple of different stacks and just play both sides of the draw.
But so like, is it gonna be that crazy a win? These guys play in wind, like unless it's gale force.
It was like 20. It was like 25 plus, wasn't it? They were forecasting.
Yeah, gusts
25
up to
plus
30
is
plus, I
not
saw.
significant on the coast. Yeah. But
if
that's
you're
where you can overthink this.
Yeah, like if it's already gonna be a hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and-
so we're saying play it on the easy course, even though it's gonna be windy.
No,
So,
Kyle and I were saying play the easy course on the calmer day and just get your birdies, and then see what you can do on the south course on Thursday in the wind.
Mm.
Yeah. And some people use the leans like this really just to cut down player pool. Like, hey, this way I'm cutting out half my field. It's just going to kind of force you to get different if you are playing those GPPs, because you're just eliminating guys you're not even looking at. So you might have a unique lineup doing that. So I know some people some of the experts out there use this as an advantage too. Now, I don't think I'm going to do anything with it, but as Mike said, if I was, that's the way I would go.
Do you guys remember who won last year? Farmers Insurance Open?
Mr. Luke List,
Oh, yeah.
playoff over Willie Z.
I was going to comment that we usually say some guy that disappeared when it's a live golfer. Luke List also disappeared, but he didn't go to live. He just sucks.
Yeah. How did he win? How did he win last year?
He puts it all together. What you're really looking for here is some distance off the tee. You can get a little wayward with it. I've heard some of that on some of the pods this week. It doesn't matter if you're 6 inches off or 60 feet off. It's you're going to be in the same situation off the fairway. You want that proximity from over 200 yards out, and you need to be good around the greens. And ultimately, there seems to be a lot of course history play here. We talked about the putting, and there just seems to be guys that play well every year.
I've heard not because of course comp, but just because of what succeeds on these courses. There's a lot of success correlation between Torrey Pines and Augusta, which I guess the last handful of years you could definitely see guys like Zalatoris playing well here, Rahm playing well here. I think Schauffele's had some good years. Finau.
Yeah, I think some of the thought there, if I think it was Andy Lack that said it today, with Regamen, is just how you have to attack the course. You have to attack it in a very certain way. So the people that have figured that out here, it's similar to Augusta. It's a similar mindset on how you got to attack, even though it might be a slightly different skill set.
Yeah. All right. Well, you wanna start taking us through the model for this week?
Yeah, I don't think this will surprise anyone. Jon Rahm is leading the way at this point, 54% mention share, pretty strong on the MPI. But I think there's a discussion that needs to be had. He's 11-6. And from a build perspective, this is one positive of the event starting tomorrow. I've already done a good amount of builds, which normally at this time on Tuesday night, I haven't. Getting Rahm in your lineup leads to some interesting scenarios. If you go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say that's an interesting. It probably forces you to get kind of funky at the bottom half of your lineup. Which does that set up well for GPP then? Like you just basically eat chalk on Rahm, and then you like automatically are picking someone who's going to be less than 5% owned. I would think.
Yeah, certainly the potential, because you start to look at second guys in, and there's the pricing really surprised me this week. There's some guys in the lower nines that I didn't expect to be there, and you can get them in, but then you're going down to 6,500 for one of your plays if you go, Rahm at 11, a 9, 3 7s, and a 6. So I think to your point though, it is gonna kind of scatter ownership on that 7 and 6K range. but you're also going to see guys in, upper sixes, for example, probably come in at 5%, which they always used to be at. You would think they'd be at 1, just because a lot more people are going to be there from a build perspective.
They have to take them. That's a great point. That is a great point. You probably will have to get really, really different at the bottom of your lineup if you're trying to hang on to that 1% play. Good call.
One last point about Rom, and I almost lost it when this was mentioned on one of my favorite listens on From a Pod is Pat Mayo, and on his Wednesday show, it's usually with Tambo, and they walk through some builds and stuff. He had Ben Raz on this week instead of Tambo. But one of the common builds they ran through that they expect people to use is Jean Rom with Jason Day as the second guy in, who I know has some great course history here, but that you're going down to Jason Day, 8,800 as your second guy in is just crazy to me. So, but Day is getting quite a bit of love on the model this week at 41% mention share, at 75 MPI as well. And this is to fill the gap between Rom and Day, 4 others coming in. We have Homa and Willie Z at 50% mention share, and Justin Rose and Tony Finau at 45% mention share. Finau and Rose really strong in the MPI, and Mike, I'm gonna need you to check that Willie Z MPI number. I don't buy it. He's really low right now.
Yeah, I did a little spot checking here on the bottom, but I'll get to that in my plays on why I think I might like that. So, do you have a couple of guys you want to start with, Kyle, or do you want me to go first? Or do you want to have Jordan go first?
Yeah, Jordan. Let's hear Jordan's first.
And hear my lineup. Yeah, you guys always take all my good picks.
So let's let you go first this week.
All right, let's see. So I've made one lineup so far. It's my RTG lineup. So I'm pretty confident. I've been doing pretty well in the listener league lately. But obviously I'm going with our high mention share, high MPI guys. I got Willie Z, Max Homa, Mav McNeely, Justin Rose, and then I had to dig a little bit deeper. I Taylor Pendrith is the first guy in the 7,000s on the model, and then I had $6,600 left. There's not a lot alive down at $6,600, so I've got someone named Zhejiang Do. He has got a lot of cuts made. He's got a lot of top 10s. So
what tour?
No idea, but he's playing, he's rolling them. So that's where we're at right now. But that's kind of the very top of the model. It was tough. I had Taylor Montgomery in there instead of Taylor Pendrith and Mav McNeely, but just too hard with another guy in the 9,000s.
Who did you take?
Zecheng, and then last name is Dou. I don't think he's in the model. If you're trying to find him there,
I think
is not.
Kyle's questioning whether he's even in the field.
I found him.
He made the cut at the Amex, dude.
He finished 62nd after a missed cut at Sony Open.
Yeah.
He finished 17th in Bermuda. I have to say that weird every time on the pod now because I did it before. I don't know.
Like he put together a lot of 4-round tournaments.
Before that, he's Corn Ferry Tour. He won something called the Ascent on July 3rd last year.
Yeah. Lots of cuts, lots of top 10s. I don't know, he's going to pull it through. Just because down in the 6,600s, who else are you going to go with? Dylan Fratelli, Lingmuth, a guy named Kevin Tway, like maybe James Hahn or Ryan Armour, but
my boy Austin Smotherman, who's I take at 6,700, but
see, I couldn't.
That's another point because I won't be
$100 short of Austin Smotherman. I would have taken him also.
Jordan, I think you should look at Tyson Alexander.
I actually have a 6K play.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I have a 6K play for you. We'll get to it. Kyle, go ahead. You start.
Yeah. So I do like Justin Rose this week, 8,100. Great mention share. Good course history here. as well. Oh, I gotta get back to my notes. Jordan threw me off and sent me on a wild scavenger hunt. He has 4 top 10s in his last 5 appearances at the Farmers. The other one was miscut, so you do have that going. He checks the box from driving distance, proximity for over 200 yards out. Pat Mayo's on him. The Bat Spurts pod mentioned him. So, and he provides a little bit of savings. I'll go there. Jordan mentioned Taylor Pendrith. I'm going there too. Rick Gaiman, Dennis Sasser on it. He finished 16th here last year. And then finally, I got to play Willie Z. I was pretty shocked at the price point this week there. I thought it'd be maybe even a little higher coming in, 9,700. So a little bit more expensive than some of the other guys around him, but Sobel on it, Mayo, and Pat James. And number 2 last year here.
Wait, so did you just
What do you
pick
got?
all the guys that I just said?
But I gave who picked them, which is kind of what we do, Jordan.
I don't know who picked who.
Of course you don't. All right, Kyle, I did a quick 2 minutes of research here. You asked why Will Zalatoris is bringing up the rear in our power index. And to remind listeners how our power index works, we track the performance of the touts, the experts, as we want to call them. We track the performance of their picks week to week, year to year, and we generate some idea of relative performance to the set of a few dozen sources that we're tracking. And we use that to then rank the players based on who is talking about a given player. Here's the issue with Will Zalatoris this week. If you were to look at I believe I did this right, but our top 6 experts would be through the season this year would be Mike McClure, Pat Mayo, Brandon Gadula, Ryan Noonan, Matt McKay, and Rick Gaiman. Our top 6. None of them are on Will Zalatoris. So the way that our model works, if none of those 6 guys are mentioning Will Zalatoris, he's not getting the benefit of some of those performance biases that we added to the model, and therefore he's bringing up the rear. I don't know that you don't really see this that often. The same goes for Max Homa. He's ranked a little bit higher, but I think that's because you got Mayo on him, and that's driving that up a little bit because Mayo is certainly our top guy. So now the reason that I'm not worried about that, because I will probably have a number of lineups with both Homa and Zalatoris in there, is because if I'm looking back at our data, and this is the way we read into the bottom quartile of our power index has performing very well. And I'm not exactly sure why that is. I probably have to go do a little bit of research, but I can tell you that the players that are ranked near 0 in our power index have been okay lately. They've been better than average lately. And some of that has to do with the experts that typically drive some of that negative bias are typically like value contributors. And so however it's shaking out, those plays have been all right. And so I actually like both Homa and Zalatoris this week for the model. I can tell you that one of those players is my one and done pick for the week. Jordan asked me that pre-pod. So one of those players is my one and done pick for the week. From there, Kyle, thoughts?
One piece on that too, Mike. Just clarity, we do not have Matt McKay's submissions yet this week, which if you see a different MPI on Will tomorrow, that's why.
Yeah. So I think if McKay comes in on Zalatoris, we could see him lift out of the basement. It's going to need to be, it probably will lift him out of the basement, but either way, he's still going to be pretty low down. That does not scare me for Will. He's been great at this golf course. I think Pendrith is, given his skill set, I know he missed cut last week. 7,900, I think, is a really good price for Taylor Pendrith. He's ranking out fairly high in our model at 33% share and a decent MPI. So I might get some of Taylor Pendrith. And then lastly, Jordan, you need a 6K play. I'll give you a 6K play, 6,000K play. Brandon Matthews, whopping 320 yards on average off the tee. I believe he is 3rd on the tour in driving distance. I actually kind of can't believe he's 6K, other than the fact that he hasn't made a cut on the PGA Tour since the Sanderson Farm in September.
Other than that.
But this dude can flat out crush the ball. I think he's the guy that now I'm going to totally blank on the golf course this was on, but drove a par 4. You know, it was like 380-yard carry over water, and drove it there when he needed to make eagle to make the cut. I think he ended up missing the putt, but absolutely incredible length. I might sprinkle a little Brandon Matthews in if I'm having some fun in a GPP, because I think he could just smash the ball around Torrey. Here's a $50,000 lineup though that I might just make this my RTG lineup, because I think it's pretty solid. If you look at our model, it's going to go 3 9Ks, 3 7Ks. Thomas, Homa, Zalatoris, Gordon, Griffin, Ben Taylor. 3 9Ks, 3 low 7Ks. It might bring a little bit of chalk to it, but it's kind of fun.
I think I actually have that lineup somewhere, which is not surprising because I built with our model. To your Brandon Matthews point, 6K, whatever. Everyone's gonna have some boards. I like the angle, going for the distance. I will say he did play MX and he did play the Sony Open. He lost 7.6 strokes of the field and 7.3 strokes of the field. His around the green at Sony was really bad, but hey, he rebounded at MX, so we'll see.
I don't know.
Looking at tiers this week, I think the really hard choice is going to be tier 2. You have Max Homa, Willie Z, Sanjay, Colin Morikawa, and Justin Thomas. And I'm one of those price points I was really surprised by this week was Justin Thomas at 9,400. So I think he is going to garner a lot of ownership with the 2 9K starter types, either JT and Homa or JT and Willie Z. I think that's going to be a lot place for a lot of people to start. Right now, looking at our model, we had talked about Homa and Will quite a bit, and they're both at 50% mention share. But from MPI perspective, our model really likes JT at this point. So that's going to be a tough decision. But if I have a lot of Will in my classic builds, I might go with JT in the tiers line.
Just to comment on where that love comes from, that is McClure, Mayo, Spencer Aguiar, Nathan Joyce, a lot of our guys that are in the top half of our contributors, all on JT this week. I agree with you, Kyle. I don't know if this is the spot for him, but might have to find a way.
Mike, I did a little Brandon Matthews research quick. And you
could tell that I did none other than how far he hits it. So
yeah, well,
enlighten me.
So he played pretty good at the Amex, 5 birdies each of his 3 rounds, only 5 total bogeys. What really got him were the triple bogeys and worse. He had, in the first round, he had 1 triple bogey or worse. They don't even count it if it's a quad. And in the round 2, he had 2 triple bogeys or worse and a double bogey. So, really, really boomer bust candidate for you there.
He's what can I say? He's raw.
Raw. Very not as raw as Tyson, my guy, but
so you're on the Tyson Alexander way again now. Yeah.
I had to go with the porn name.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh man. All right, Kyle, name game. I think you were diligently working on it.
Yeah. So last week we had guest Derek come on and win with the Toms, Tom Hoagie and Tom Kim. Kind of ran away with it. Mike hung in with the Taylors. The listeners had Will, and then Jordan squeaked by me with Cameron Young, Cameron Davis over at Patrick Cantlay and Patrick Rogers. My boy P. Raj, let us know. But this week, so we're in San Diego, obviously. Swag, you guys like to talk about Swag. They had Ron Burgundy head cover. So, we're going with names that could have been on the news team with Ron Burgundy. So just recall, in case you haven't seen the Anchorman movie in a while, you had Brick Tamlin, Champ Kind, Brian Fontana, and Wes Mantooth. Some of the names. Unfortunately, we don't have any direct matches to anyone in the field. But I picked out some.
I think. Hold on, hang on a second. I think Cam Champ is in the field.
He is not.
Okay.
But there's some I thought, if they would just flipped them out, we would know no different. First you got Wyndham Clark, 7,900. Hayden Buckley, 8,000. Joseph Bramlett, 7,000, and Nick Hardy, 7,400. Champ Kai, Nick Hardy. Yeah, that works. So we're not right sizing things from salary. Just pick one person straight up. Wyndham Clark, Hayden Buckley, Joseph Bramlett, Nick Hardy. Which person from the news Channel 4 news team are you guys picking?
First of all, Kyle, how do you want me to show you that Cameron Champ is in the field?
Oh, I
Too late.
searched real quick as we were going here, and it didn't pop up. So.
All right, Buckley, Clark, Bramlett.
He's the first one I looked for. Is he in our model?
And no, he's not in the model. No one is thinking Camp Champ this week. There you go. Buckley, Clark, Bramlett, and remind me of the last one there.
Hardy.
Oh,
I feel like Nick Hardy's probably the sports anchor of the group.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who's going first? I guess I should probably go. It should probably be Kyle. You can go first. You brought up the rear. Kyle, Jordan, me.
Do it.
I'll go. I'll take Joseph Bramlett.
I shouldn't have let you go first.
All right. So
I feel like he's the weatherman of the group.
Buckley, Hardy, or who?
Clark. Although apparently in the DFS community, Wyndham Clark's nickname is now Wendy C. So I guess there's your weather reference.
He would be the weatherman. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go with the swag guy, Nick Hardy.
Boy. Well, I think that leaves me with Hayden Buckley. I'm not sure why. I don't really want Wendy C. Hayden Buckley, he's getting a couple mentions in the model. 8K seems like an insane price to pay for him if you are playing him in DFS this week, but I will play him in name game. You're welcome, listeners. You have Wyndham Clark.
Wyndham Clark. So Hayden Buckley, he's kind of the West Mantooth comp, I would say. So he's actually from the rival gang.
Okay. All right. Well, Kyle, you want to finish this off with your betting card for the week?
Yeah, we obviously didn't hit it outright last week because we're never going to hit it outright when John Rahm wins at, what was he last week? 800 or 8-1. Now this week we have him at 4. It's annoying, but we did hit a couple of place bets, still down on the week, but good vibes from last year, reminding everyone about how great last year was from an outright perspective and first round leaders. Unfortunately, the first round leader market is weird, wonky this week with the 2 courses. But from an outright perspective, I do have Homa at 22, Hendricks at 70. Unfortunately, missed out on that Homa number. It opened to 28, but the drive to Iowa is a little too far from here. I couldn't get down there in an hour and a half to go get that number. So I have Willie Z at 1,800, Rose at 55, and then I feel like this is the tricky special of the week. DraftKings had a first round leader and to win bet out this week, and you could get Willie Z at 65-1 on that. He starts on the North Course. So the first round leader is most likely going to come from the North Course. And if you already think he's going to win anyway, why would you not double it up with that bet and take your 18 and add 65 to? So those are the bets for this week.
Good,
Kyle.
I did also parlay matchup one. I wanted to jump in the matchup since I had the first round leaders. JT over McNeely and Will over Siwoo. They're both pretty big odds, but you parlay them together, you can get plus 193.
Good work, Kyle. I'm excited. I want to see that Willie Z, even if it isn't wire to wire. I want to see that pay off. I'd love to hear you take advantage of that. Kyle, you brought up the swag release this week. Now that Nick Hardy is a swag brand ambassador, is a really cool stitched Ron Burgundy Scotch head cover. Jordan, you gonna try to score it on Thursday?
I mean, it's pretty cool. This might be one of those where I try and get 2 of them and then sell one to pay for the other one. Like, I don't think they're going to be worth a ton of money, but it looks pretty ridiculous.
It is pretty cool.
Also, like, it's going to be a conversation starter. Everyone knows the second they see it. It's the most thread count they've ever put on a cover. It's at over 200,000 stitches
Yeah.
in the. They didn't say if that was the must be the driver, because I'm sure the driver has more, but pretty crazy.
And you think the special is going to say,
"Go fuck yourself, San Diego"? And you have
that'd
to,
be pretty
right?
cool.
You have to.
It wasn't on their socials, but yeah, I appreciate when they hit a real deep reference like that. PJ Tours in San Diego. It's such a, that movie obviously takes place there. A lot of San Diego references. I don't know. That is a good idea to maybe try to get two and hang on to one. We'll see. We'll see. It's pretty sweet. All right. Well, I look forward to watching a little golf this week and reminiscing about our time there and thinking about the next time that we can get out something called a golf course. Right now, it's about as close as we can get as a simulator. So we got it. I know Kyle bugs you. We got to get that on the calendar. But you can find our content on our YouTube page, Reading the Green, our Twitter feed at RTG Podcast DFS, on any major podcast platforms. Our shows come out typically on Wednesday mornings. This one will be out on Tuesday evening to get ahead of the tournament start. And I'm excited to come back in a week and talk to you guys about Pebble Beach. See ya.